What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? For the love of wrestling, it's back this week. You already know what it is. The Fresh Triangle, the Flow Horseman, if you will. We got Mac Lowe. We got myself, Quincy Jones, and of course, the most important, we got Brian Andrew. What's going on, guys?
Not much.
I got a question. How much is Taz paying you to promote for Team Taz with that orange shirt? I just wanted to know, because we can use some sponsors on the show. Just let them know.
I would say I'm probably making as much as Taz is making, and I don't think it's a lot. So
okay, he's just
I don't even think AEW pays that. I think Taz just shows up every week.
Hey, I just want my son to get a contract. That's it. Yeah, and then just let me do my show. That's it. Or else I'll suplex somebody. No, you can't. You ain't got no neck, Taz. You can't suplex nobody right now.
What was worse, finding out that kayfabe was a thing, or finding out that Taz wasn't black when you was the kid?
Okay, so you're gonna laugh, right? Like when I found out about kayfabe like being a thing, I was like, what? You know what I mean? It's crazy. But I got a book one time and it had like all these legends in there that weren't WWE, but it had like Sabu, Abdullah the Butcher, Taz, like all these guys from like ECW, but also Japanese stuff. So I was like, oh, there's some people outside of WWF. I didn't know, right? And I'm reading up on Taz, and this book, this is real early. It actually has like their real names and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, Peter Cernercia? Who is Peter Cernercia? I'm like, that ain't no name from Red Hook. Like, I was like, who is this? And then sure enough, I was like, and then you hear all these people, with these stories like, oh yeah, he wasn't always orange. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, he used to be white with an afro. I'm like, what? Like, I kind of want to see that version now, but I digress, man. Another week in wrestling.
I'm doing White Taz.
White Taz. Oh
really?
Yeah. It's like Brian, so like Brian's like Taz when he's not outside catching the sun. It's just like it just goes back to normal. I'm gonna start it off hot, y'all. I'm gonna start it off hot, man.
Let's do it.
Or you know what? I'll do it like this. I'll get the most negative portion of this show out the way. NXT, man. I know we talked a little bit in the chat before, getting here. I know Brian, you made a comment about them ruining the best part of their company. I assumed you were talking about NXT, but I could be wrong.
I was.
I don't know. It's just crazy because it's like I told my brother, I'm like, it was weird for me to watch this week because it was almost like it was like watching the last episode of Nitro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that they're gonna not that they're necessarily shutting down the doors and turning off the lights and all that for good, but it was just like, but everybody kind of knows something's up.
Something is afoot.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's like when mom and dad are fighting and there's like a divorce coming, but they're like, no, everything's good, Bobby. You're like, nah, just tell me what it is, because I'm gonna be devastated for reals.
I don't want to go to Disneyland.
What would be worse? Shutting it down when it's still relatively good, or just turning it into the main roster and watch it slowly just not be what it used to be?
I mean, I feel like Vince has been slowly turning into a main roster in his own way. Yeah. And there's been certain aspects already that hasn't been what it used to be. Like, I mean, for instance, and just this week alone, they had Dakota Kai lose on a match to, I think, Tegan Nox on main event. Yeah. And I'm like, she has a championship match coming up.
No, she lost to Aaliyah, I think.
Aaliyah, that's what it was. Yeah, Aaliyah. But I'm just like, dude, what are you guys doing? Like, you know what I mean? They had Dragunov lose to Pete Dunne this week, and I'm like, you guys bigged up that this is his first time wrestling on like not necessarily U.S. soil, but on American TV for NXT, their brand. And it's just like, why? I don't. But then I was like, well, Pete Dunne's his shit's up soon too. He's kind of in the similar situation as Adam Cole, so it's like maybe they're trying to appease him, because the latest I heard about the Adam Cole thing is, and it's crazy because it's all in real time. We were doing the Quincy Jones show when we started the episode. We were like, this is what the latest is. The $1 million contract is, we don't know if that's real or not, but if so, we've been told there's been creative, groups on both sides, SmackDown and Raw, to prepare things just in case. And then literally the next day when we went to do the rest of the review for Dynamite, then the other shoe fell, and it's like, yeah, actually that there is creative in place, but pretty much the situation is looking like all this money for Adam Cole to play a role in WWE that nobody would even think he would play. And I'm just like, what the fuck does that mean? And I'm like, what, they're going to try to make him like Dolph Ziggler light or something? Like, oh, we won't make you the next Shawn Michaels, but we'll make you Dolph Ziggler. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that means. And
a
lot of empty promises.
Yeah, that's kind of like oh, and sign here for the empty promises clause. We're gonna we're gonna fill your head up with a lot of goals we want for you, and then we're gonna watch systematically how we break everything down from you and pick apart what made you great, and then blame you for why you're not where we want you
and then
on our timeline. Yeah,
and then send you to AEW when you're out of your prime.
Yeah, man, but do what? Seriously, it's gonna be one of those things where like we want to keep you, but we think you need a little bit more training, so we're gonna release you from your contract, send you out to Florida for a little bit, which is going to be, everyone says Atlanta or New York. AEW's going to be like, oh, we're going to send you down to Florida. And wait, you're going to send me to NXT? Oh, no, we're going to let AEW pick you up, see what they can do with you. And then we'll revisit. Maybe there's some interest there later. But this is what I've been hearing about the NXT cuts and stuff. And it's about to get a little bit detailed after this part. But on the surface, this is what it is. It seems obviously the cuts were made by Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, and John Laurinaitis, which, I mean, if you guys, history just kind of repeats. Like those three in one group, it's like, yeah, I'm getting the fuck out the way too. I'm hiding in catering and making sure they don't even remember I worked there to keep my job, right? But it said Triple H and Shawn Michaels did not have a say in the cuts, and they weren't even aware of them until Laurinaitis started calling the talent. I'm like, how you hating from the club? You can't even get in, like. And it says it's being said that the releases are creating a real morale issue, which obviously, but NXT has not had in the past. It says that there's a power struggle behind the scenes involving people who either support Triple H and people who either fear for their positions if Triple H was to eventually take over. The people who fear for their positions are reportedly trying to undermine Triple H. I'm like, why? How would you do that? I don't.
At this point, Triple H might not even get. Yeah.
Like, what do you say? How do you even undermine Triple H? Like, hey, can you pass me that pen? It's right next to the shovel. Yeah, thanks. Cool. Like, how do you? I don't know how you would even undermine. Like, how does it even? But it says people within the company have noted that the situation with the releases was toxic because it was more of a power grab when it came to people looking out for their futures, and the talents were used as pawns. The idea is that Triple H stocked NXT with too many wrestlers who didn't have potential for the main roster. One person noted that the mindset was that when WWE would sign independent talent, they would have to, quote unquote, beat the independent out of them. And then when talents got called up to the main roster from NXT, then they would subsequently beat the NXT out of them. And I'm like, why reprogram and then reprogram them again? Yeah, the first time I get, because that's like taking a street baller and trying to get them on, the D League and then, get a spot on the main roster. I get that, but it's like, I
think the issue that I have with all of this is it reminds me of my issues with like DC versus Marvel. You watch a Marvel movie or Marvel Netflix, for the most part, all that stuff is tied in. Even freaking Shield had tie-ins to the Thanos situation because it was all. Continuity across the board. So when you watch NXT, you're invested in it, and then you see these guys go up to the main roster and nothing happens that makes sense with what you know for this character.
Yeah,
that's
it's like
what I think throws everybody off because
you're right.
Feel like it's connected, and so it's not so much that it's like, oh, these guys are getting buried when they go to the top. I think wrestling fans. I think sometimes wrestling fans talk too much and they try to use words. No.
I mean,
it's the continuity. It's the continuity not being there that's making you feel away. And so when you see Karrion Kross go up and he's supposed to be a monster, and then Jeff Hardy, who we know is not a monster killer right now.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes you go, what the hell? And so then you put a finger. So I think I'm hopeful that whatever they're doing, at least there's some continuity and that the people that are still there get an opportunity to be who they are across the board so it all makes sense. People that are losing their jobs, it sucks. Hopefully they land on their feet.
I'm sure that, I'm sure they
places that people can go. But
exactly.
The continuity is the issue.
No, really, because it's like, and maybe, like you said, maybe it's on the fans where we kind of build ourselves up to it a little bit, and I think it's only because of the fact, like, come on, man, we've seen this happen with A, B, C, D. Like, what makes E different? You know what I mean? And then we still give the hope up, and you're like, well, there goes E. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one thing I did want to bring up that's a little bit more deeper into kind of, I guess this kind of gives a little bit of background behind the logic of what's going on with these releases, why they're happening so abundantly right now. So check it out. Nick Khan, obviously new president and everything, he has been tasked with checking out the full expenditures of WWE as a company, what's costing them so much, all that good stuff. Then he got, an eye into the NXT production costs yearly, right? He sees that they're spending 112 million a year. And he sees that and he's like, oh no, we got to cut that down to 70 million. So when you think about that, now they got to figure out how to make room for 42 million. So you take the 42 million that they got to cut out, and you take that with the NXT talents who don't even make seven figures. Some of them only six figures. I think if anything, it's like the most paid is like probably 100,000 or 500,000. I mean, I heard that this $1 million contract, so to speak, with Adam Cole was 10 times what he makes now. So, do the math, that's 100,000. But when you think about it, they're not even, if that's how it is, and the amount of people that they just released, like that's not even close to even getting there.
That's not 42 million.
And I was gonna say, like, which kind of makes sense with the Bray Wyatt and Braun stuff, but I'll add on to those two specific situations later. But with this, it's like y'all just released 13 people, and not all of them are getting paid the same amount, because there's people on there we ain't even heard of who ain't even been on TV yet. So not all of them are getting 100,000, and let alone any of them, getting paid the same amount as Adam Cole. So it's like 13, even if you did 13 times 100,000, that's only what 1.3. So it's like, no, we still wait.
Conor Reeves probably was making like 6.2.
I was thinking at the most, someone was probably making 90, 80 or something like that. 60.
Like, I would say Conor Reeves was probably making 39 mil, and then they made up the other 3 mil with the other.
They're like, but how do we get there though? It's
3 more million.
they treating it like this 42 million, like the 88 gigawatts. They're like, we need to get to it though. But like, so that kind of makes sense, right? I mean, but from the business standpoint, it sucks, but the 42 million, it makes sense when you look at the amount of people they've been releasing at the rate that they've been doing it. But to circle back to the Bray Braun thing, that was more discussed, like possibly, because going forward, everyone usually gets like a 3 or 5 year contract. That's usually the standard for WWE, unless you're like Bret Hart or Undertaker and you're like just slaved forever, like Michael Jordan Space Jam. But going forward, they're saying that these 3 to 5 years are not going to be a thing anymore. That we're going to see like 3 years being the most, and it might be just like a year or two on these contracts going forward. And so when I hear that, I'm like, okay, they probably had WWE tied up with mad money for both of them, with the amount of years they had left on their contract. So they chose to break the contract, and now what they're going to do is let the contract run out and then sign them later for less money. Because what was going on is, and this is where it gets tricky. This is all business and legal, but it got WWE's like fingerprints all over it. A lot of these people on the main roster that we also saw get released, in their contract, they have these guaranteed appearances or dates. So they have like a minimum that they have to show up for, so like say like they have a 300-day schedule, like, yearly. There's a clause that'll say maybe at least 120 appearances you have to be on, whether that's house shows, regular shows, whatever, right? That's a standard contract. Obviously not, that's, in the pandemic, it's a little different, but this is stuff that's already been pre-existing. So when you take that into account, what they did was they basically reserved the right to fire anybody they could. What they did was they made themselves look like a good guy by keeping everybody during the pandemic at first, knowing that later they could say, well, y'all, we kept y'all, but technically you guys all breached your contracts, regardless of what happened. You guys breached your contracts, so we can't fire you. And I was like, damn, when you think about that, like, it's business, but again, the fingerprints is kind of,
and going back to the Triple H thing, right? If they're doing these budget cuts and there's rumors that they're going to maybe sell it, right? Triple H wouldn't be taking over at that point. So
yeah, I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't believe so if that's what the situation is. Yeah,
but like Bronson Reed apparently not Bronson Reed getting released because he did a dark match. Vince didn't like him and then said, well, if he's never going to come up to the main roster, then what's the point? So they released him. WWE is such a fucking unlikable company. Like it's like
it's almost I like they're making themselves out to be the alternative now, right?
Right.
They're almost not the first pick anymore.
And the thing is, like, you can see it in the ratings. You can see it how bad the show is. You can only put up like, I watch wrestling because I generally have this optimism that like something's going to be good, or there's something that I generally like.
Will enjoy.
I used to watch a 3-hour Raw, hoping that at least there was 10 minutes of the show I liked. And
that's kind of what it is now.
Right. And SmackDown at least has Roman, but you know, we're going into SummerSlam, and in my opinion, the build of SummerSlam has been absolute fucking ass.
Okay,
and then also
I definitely want to put a pin in that for sure, because I definitely was going to bring that up. But go ahead,
And now you're basically, you could be like, hey, you know what? I like AEW and I like NXT, and I was one of those people. And the thing about the WWE is, you always had this hope that you're like, it sucks now, but there's some cool parts, and NXT is there, so at least I could watch NXT. And even though ever since I went to 2 hours and went to USA, it hasn't been as good as when it was the 1 hour, fine, it's still really good. And you would also have this idea that these guys would eventually go up to the main roster and make that better. And even though a lot of the call-ups haven't worked out, you're still hoping for like maybe Adam Cole would be the exception, you know? And then,
exactly.
And then eventually Vince McMahon, if it's 5 or 10 years, would step down, and we would at least, even if it didn't get necessarily better, it would have probably a fresher look. We wouldn't have Kevin Dunn cut scenes and stuff like that, you know, like
yeah.
So
like, oh, we just filmed this for hours only to cut it out in the final. Like, fuck me. Yeah, exactly.
What Vince did, and I know he was too stubborn or probably didn't even think he did this. What he's doing right now is getting rid of the fan that was waiting out this bullshit. We were all waiting out the bullshit.
Yeah, like they're trying to just get the fans that are already like hooked. Yeah, it's
because like you already got fans who lost interest. Your show fucking sucks. All of them fucking suck.
But they have a lot the core of their fan base. The core of their fan base, and specifically for Raw, is a lot of people that just are blindly loyal. You know what I mean? They're just WWE loyalists, and I get it. Yeah. And it's like, for me, I still watch it, but it's like, I'm not going to be like, man, the whole thing topped up. Nah, bro. Like, y'all need to, we like to hold them accountable.
You know
so that's why we have the show.
But since I've moved, my schedule has changed. I haven't been able to watch how I used to. I used to be that dude. It's Monday, watch a Raw. Okay. It's Wednesday. I got 2 shows I gotta watch. Okay. It's Friday. And I would literally like get my errands done, and then like, this is gonna be my 3 hours for today, where I just
block that 3 hours out. Yeah, because you knew
I can enjoy this, even if it's trash. It's just my personal time. You know
it's like that. I know 80% gonna hit.
Yeah, but now since I've been out here, I work literally. I'm driving to work and all this stuff. So I can't say that I missed it. Question mark. And then SmackDown, the same thing. When I get home, it's already 1 o'clock in the morning. I could turn it on and rewind it and watch it from the beginning, or I could just check for the people that I care about. And
exactly.
And that's what it's turned into for me. Is okay, I got 3 guys on this show, a couple of girls on this show, 3 guys on this show, a couple of girls on this show. Let me just find the.
It's like fantasy football, low key.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like,
I'm not following the whole show. I'm just trying to see what my favorite.
Yeah, you may miss the game, but you're just trying to see how your players performing.
Right now, it's only a couple. It's only with the way these releases is going, it's only a couple that I'm really checking for. So it's getting to the point where it's not really no reasons for me to watch, especially if the ones that I'm
watching for, those are some of the ones that they're getting rid of. You know, yeah. It's just like my thing is like I wouldn't doubt that this time next year they would get probably like release someone like a Big E because they just think that it's. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
No. Well, you're right because there's.
And I know that I want it to happen. I'm just saying.
No pattern. There used to be a pattern.
There used to be a pattern. Used to be like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, his name.
That sucks.
Yeah, like you would even see when they would start kind of burying him on the way out. So you kind of already had an idea, but like now you're like, whoa, wait, they just started. This dude was about to jump on the main roster. Then now all of a sudden we're like, nah, we changed. But you know what?
Real quick, what Vince doesn't realize, and I think he might be getting the idea of it now, but I think it's too late, is he could give NXT a lot of shit for losing the Wednesday Night War, but NXT kept it usually within 200,000 to 300,000. Right?
Yeah, it wasn't like they got like totally annihilated, right?
And usually there's a lot of crossover between the fans.
Yeah, true.
But Vince doesn't fucking realize Raw specifically, not SmackDown. SmackDown still has a little bit, of that, network television pull, but Raw on USA is several bad shows away and AEW being several good shows away. Raw is going on a downward turn.
No, yeah, it's
AEW
almost
is climbing, especially with CM Punk coming. Like CM Punk might not make him a $2 million TV rating, but CM Punk could certainly maybe put him past 1.5.
No, I was about to say, because I was talking to my brother about this. I was like, I know we're not usually like stat guys, but a lot of people, I was asking what his opinion was, because the biggest number that they did was a 1.4. And I was like, you think they're going to do better than 1.4? I mean, like that CM Punk, next week, there's a lot of buzz behind it. Even if he doesn't show up, people are going to still watch. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, they may crack it. But before we get into, because I was going to bring up CM Punk, but you know what? I can bring it up because it is kind of a segue here. Because you did talk about SummerSlam, and I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, yo, this specifically Roman Reigns versus John Cena, as much, obviously I'm going, so I'm excited to see it. This is the most lackluster. I'm like, yo, this feud has no substance at all. Like, at least the last one they did, there was some tit for tat. There was that time where he caught Roman slipping with the promo, all that good stuff, and it made it good. And it sold me to want to go watch it in No Mercy, and when it was at Staples. But the match was still trash. But this time out, it's like super weird because they're like, this is a dream match. This is only happened in 2K22. I'm like, nah, y'all already did this.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not bothered by that, but I'm like, why are you guys acting like this is brand new? Like this would never happen. And then so I'm, but they're like, oh, this is a crazy, and then like even John Cena, like with his promo talking about they tried to push you for 10 years and you just been a failure after failure. I'm like, bro, even though was not a fan, he racked up mad championship wins. So what are you talking about?
But also he
mad
said,
Royal Rumble win,
like, himself. He said
it just
like
didn't
10 years. And then you made it into WrestleMania in 5 years. I'm like, that's a pretty good.
That's pretty
right. Like, yeah.
And you won a couple of them,
bro. Like I was gonna say to have like the last 10 years of your career and have half of those 10 years be like you were the main event.
So you telling me 50% of your career, you're a main eventer at WrestleMania? I'll take that.
And not even in my prime yet. Yes, take that for 100 because some people don't. Yeah,
great when we main events won.
Yes, I was about to say there's people who ain't even got the main event of Mania ever.
Man,
you know what I'm saying? And put in more work than 10 years. So yeah, but obviously it gets a little spicy because we had the missionary reference again, which I love because he brought in Nikki Bella. Because I was like, the way that Roman was responding, that's how I was in my inner spirit was like, yo, this dude is just, why does it come off like he's trying so hard? Dude, like he's trying to, get this drama, build this drama that just it's not there. I was like, yo, you guys have not even cut a promo in the same ring until now. Like before, like the whole thing with him running in to sign the contract, that was the only other time they were in the ring together since he's been back. Yeah. And aside from when he came back at what was it, Money in the Bank? At the end of Money in the Bank, but still, I was like, so are we not going to get you guys like going tit for tat like how normal feuds go in the ring? Like I don't understand how this is going, but
it's like Bruce Pritchard. I don't know. Is sometimes I feel like
you think it's him that's doing this on Raw or SmackDown?
No, but if he's gonna be the guy who replaced Paul Heyman on Raw and all that, then I obviously think he's got. And I know Paul Heyman's involved a little bit, but I'm gonna say Bruce Pritchard and Vince and that whole group of goonies that are fucking up the company.
Yeah, seriously.
The story is there that I think what they're trying to do, but they're doing it very bad, is John Cena basically saying, I've done what you've done, but I didn't have to change to do it. And Roman Reigns is, well, you're fucking boring as fuck, and no one likes you. With all the missionary shit, right?
Over and over. Yeah.
And I think like what they need to do is that they get worried about like, fuck, SummerSlam's in 6 weeks. How do we build that? Whereas like sometimes I'm like, you just need to, if you're gonna really book things week to week, then make each week really good. And
I was gonna say make each week mean something. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because like but I'll give him a little bit of space on it because of the fact that I feel like they otherwise probably would be having a regular scheduled like booking creatively, but I feel like they also been having their hands full because they don't even know if they're still gonna have it at Vegas. Like they've been still like head on a swivel, like listening to the news by every hour, making sure that like we're still even gonna be able to be at Allegiant. So I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird situation. Like, but this in particular, like, there's some other feuds that are okay. Like, I've been enjoying the Edge and Seth Rollins, like how they've been coming about it. But Bobby and Goldberg, I mean, I just want to see Bobby kill the old man. I mean, not really, but if it happens, we can. He's already in the Hall of Fame, so whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
But he'll reincarnate into like an engine of a car because he's like a big ass fucking car, and you know what I mean, like enthusiast. It's all good, you know what I'm saying? And then his kid could drive the car. It'll be like Bumblebee. It's all good, you know what I mean? But
the kid drives this way and then Goldberg transforms this way. Like
it'd be like a Fast Five or whatever. Like,
the kid's driving this way and then Goldberg buries the rest of the WWE that way.
But you know what? The one other thing I like
tackling
Goldberg got Bray Wyatt fired somehow.
Well, actually, if we're talking about Goldberg history shows that he would probably flood the engine and then wouldn't be able to drive it at all. So or he might like, I forgot the keys. Like, dude, it's you locked your keys in the car. He's like, don't worry, son. Pow, and then just rip the tendons all over again. It's like, Dad, I told you do it.
I can't open my locker door without hitting my head on it.
Oh man, it's like if not, it's always the headbutt out. I gotta get the headbutt in.
What's the combination to your locker?
It's your next. Oh man. But I will say that in reference to what you were saying, kind of like whether Paul Heyman has any control over this. I mean, SmackDown as a whole, I think he might have some input, but I do know that it's him and Roman when it comes to the storylines for his stuff. I don't know if maybe Roman this time around got a little bit more clout, got a little bit more power where he's like, yeah, we're going to do this feud, but John's not going to go out there and do me like he did last time. You know what I mean? I don't know if maybe that's what it is because it seems like they were doing this with kid gloves, but then the gloves came off because you hear John Cena reference Dean Ambrose on a WWE.
Was that approved?
I was like, whoa, yeah. And then it's like you kind of see Roman's like immediate response. I was like he popped like Randy pops when he's trying not to laugh. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then there was also I just had to say this. What is up with all this? Like they're just piling on this shit. This is more from WWE. Obviously, there's buzz circulating around it from AEW because of all the rumors, but they are hating so hard from the sidelines. Y'all don't want CM Punk, then stop referencing CM Punk. Yeah. This whole summer of Cena, that's not a thing. Stop saying it. We know why you're saying it. And then you have him say, I'm gonna win, and then I'm gonna as soon as I hit the 1, 2, 3, I'm gonna jump over the barricade and run out of Allegiant Stadium. Hell, I might even blow you a kiss goodbye. I'm like, really, bro? Like, you can say that because you were in the match. I get it, but why?
Where are you going? We're going to HBO Max, like, what the
like, yeah. I don't understand, like, what it's. I don't know, dude. It's just one of those things where why tease it? You know what I mean? It's like why like that one time.
Network, they have like a best of, and it was like best of Daniel Bryan, best of Cena.
Well, you know what's funny is like, yeah, they were doing some. Okay, there was a lot of stuff on SmackDown where they were using footage from people who don't work there. Like they were talking, you know, they even when that video promo with Seth and Edge where he's like, cue it up. You know, he has this whole comparison video. And then it's like it shows, he's like, oh, you know, he won the Royal Rumble, but he lost at WrestleMania. And then you're like, no, he didn't lose. Like there was a triple threat, but y'all are like not showing Daniel Bryan and acting like he was a part of the match. Right. But he's stealing the footage. And then even when they're showing the Seth Rollins footage, is showing like Dean Ambrose, even though you don't see him clearly, he's in every shot of the Shield. Yeah. And I'm like, this is really interesting that they're showing this shit. But, you know, speaking of like them using footage of people that aren't under contract anymore, somebody was saying that this past Raw, that was the date that Bray Wyatt was supposed to return. And what's crazier about that is during commercial, you know, you've been to a live event, Mac and Brian, where sometimes like in between time, they'll play like one of their own WWE produced videos in the arena to keep people busy. They had one of those and it was like Stone Cold and somebody else being interviewed about the Fiend character. And it was like, why would you play this? And you could tell it was probably old and just in rotation, but I'm like, why would you play this? And it's like, the place was already going crazy for Wyatt. You know what I'm saying? So
if you like Alexa Bliss, give her a hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, hell, I mean, you know, I always said Vince was a puppet, but goddamn, kid, like, it's like, it was just like, you know. So I heard about that, but one thing I did
with his hands, like his fingers
dude. Okay, I thought I was the only person, like, you know, just you tell me, I'll tell it. You tell the other half. Yeah.
She's selling the hell out of the character. You know?
Hey, I mean, you know, and strong forearms and shit. You know, like
what's going through your mind there?
What's going through your mind? Yeah, hey, that's the business. Hey, I'll drink to that. Hey, I'll drink to that. Hell yeah, you know.
That son of a bitch.
Here comes the heat. Here comes the comeback.
Wham. No, dude. But you know, I did want to bring this up because I know we talked about it on the show as recently as last week. So the story about the mental issues with Bray Wyatt, that has been dispelled. He has not had mental issues. That has not been the reason why he's been gone. He did have a personal issue, which they said, quote, injury to appendage. I'm like, yo, that could be hands, but that could be something else. You know, I was like, yeah. Hey, I'll see you, JoJo. She said, let me in, and he wasn't ready. But they said
other appreciation day.
Nope. Hey, you know, he probably pulled it. He probably pulled his groin. He's like, I ain't rocking that shit that Triple H wore, and then in the Elimination Chamber, fuck that. It was like, I'll wait it out. But they, other than that injury, though, he was told that he was going to be coming back. Like I said, he had the date, and the only thing that was keeping him from showing up on TV is he had a lot of family engagement. So that's the only thing. But as early as like the last few months, like 2 or 3 months, he was already like adding creatively to this new presentation of whatever the character was going to be, and then they just snuff it out. I was just like, that okay, I'd be kind of like frustrated too. But then again, I'm thinking because I told my brother, you know, even though he's doing a lot of stuff on Twitter, I feel like they may just bring him back later, WWE for less money.
I think they want to, but Brett,
whether or not if he wants to, yeah, it's different.
What they don't realize, and I was getting kind of back to this, is like, in my opinion, like the WWE is always going to be the WWE. It's always going to be like, when you ask people about wrestling, they're always going to bring the WWE first. They're not going to bring up AEW or WCW.
It's too new.
But like in terms of the wrestling world and what we know about it, and where you can make your money, or where you could be used creatively, or where you're going to get the best out of your prime, it's not in the WWE anymore.
That's true.
And so
creatively, yeah, and competition wise, to be that fulfilled. Yeah, I think there's just way too many filters in WWE for you to achieve that. But yeah, you're right.
If you're
people that they got to please before they get to the product.
Yeah, because they feel like they treat it like it's almost like a bucket list before they get to WWE, right? Like because I know if I go here, I'm gonna be tied down, you know. So it's like, yeah.
And I think the WWE doesn't realize, like even like someone like Braun Strowman, is that Braun Strowman is the one with the leverage now. WWE is not the only company in town, and it's not the only way for him to make money. And to be honest, there's some people in the indies that they do it right, make more money than they did in WWE and worked a lot less dates.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, and the thing is, and even when they're out of their prime, but they still have a relevant name, they could still eventually go back to WWE and still make that WWE money. And the WWE, I don't think realizes that at this point. Like if Bray Wyatt goes to AEW and he fulfills his prime and he gets all his creative shit out, and then all of a sudden he leaves AEW because maybe they just feel like he ran its course there or whatever. He out of his prime could go back to the WWE, make good WWE money. And if they want to like bury him because he went to AEW, that's fine. He's making his money and he's out of his prime now. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's
that he wanted to do.
I mean,
that's a similar situation with Matt Cardona. If you look at him,
yeah. The
way his run was in the WWE, everybody wanted more for him, right? So he leaves. Now he done messed around and hit legendary status outside with what's going on right now, right?
Right.
So
for his ceiling, yeah. For his ceiling, yeah.
So he's definitely surpassed whatever you thought
expectations. Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So now he can live off of this and continue to just ride this wave and be good and never come back, or he could say, you know what, let me get one more bag now that I've built this.
Yeah, I was gonna say he can reinvent or present a reason for him to come back.
And after he does this hardcore run that he's on right now, and got the internet in a frenzy, if he comes back, he in his mind knows it's not going to be that. They're not going to let me be that guy.
Yeah.
It might make me go back to being that guy. But
like you may be back in a wheelchair, Zack Ryder. Yeah.
Zack Ryder took the hardest bump of his life in the WWE.
Dude, see, I still think that was worse than anything he's done in GCW already. Yeah, he's only had one match, right? Like, but one thing I also wanted to bring up, in the same vein of just trying to, I don't know why they were referencing a lot of people that they just released. You had Cena, who was talking about the 17th championship. I'm like, but who has the 16th? You know what I mean? Who would you be beating? Oh, the guy you just fired?
Word.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, why even bring it up? Because people know who you're talking about, but he's not there and they can't say his name.
Why can't you say his name? And I think that's what.
It's not my rule, but it's their rule. They don't say nothing. Yeah, it's like, but that's the thing. Ric Flair's name transcends far past WWE. He's not. When I think of Ric Flair, he's not a WWF guy. He spent a little bit of his time there in its prime, but then that's where he's been now, right? But he's a WCW NWA guy to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, his name, it transcends, right? So it shouldn't be that big of a problem, but. I don't know. It's so weird because,
especially when you're a legend like that, or like, in my opinion, this.
I mean, he already got his merch back on Pro Wrestling Tees, which, I mean, shit. When you think about how much merch he was probably still pushing for WWE, that's probably an L that they took.
Unless you have, and this would be my cardinal rule if I was the WWE, because in my opinion, who cares? Like, if you want to flaunt, like, fuck, we're just giving everyone AEW, then own it. Just be like, hey, yeah, we did once have a Dean Ambrose as champion, and we decided that we wanted to part ways or not come up with a deal.
They're gonna bring up someone from that no one's seen from the PC and do like the fake Razor Ramon with Dean Ambrose. It's like we got the new Shield. That's not. Oh, okay, we'll make it work. Like,
but I do feel like like if you made someone a champion and unless they have legal issues outside of like their outside life, they should be canon within any stories. Or for example, like Ric Flair, he transcends it. He's a legend, so it doesn't matter. But like even Dean Ambrose, he's a former WWE champion. He's part of Roman Reigns' biggest faction he's ever been in. Yeah. Like you can't tell the history of two of their biggest stars without him being a part of that. Yeah. So just he's canon, and he goes by a different name anyways now. So like
that's what I was gonna say too. Like it's not like he's using the same name somewhere else where you're like, oh no, we don't want to. It's like if someone says, oh, Dean Ambrose, and they Google Dean Ambrose, it's like they'd have to. figure out that he's John Moxley now, but they're like,
it seem like if you say it's like Candyman or some shit.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Like if you say
we don't want him to show up,
then everybody on TV is immediately gonna go and change the channel. Like that's not.
Yeah.
That's not
yeah.
how that works.
No, I think Vince is like, I feel like he's gonna show back up here, and I can't get rid of him again. He's like, I don't want to deal with him.
Back to my other point, like,
fuck, man.
It feels like Marvel, right? They don't have the rights to the X-Men, but there's been references to, they legally can't say the word even in the movie. They found ways to allude
to reference
to the
it, yeah,
to still tell the stories without saying it. So I think you can acknowledge the existence without trying to act like it puts you as a viewer in a goofy space because I have to ignore things that I know. You know
but right there, like even like the short part of that, Marvel Universe, WWE Universe, they feel like nothing exists outside. Like there's no wrestling outside of those walls, right? But like AEW, right? Like, but they will say like even and I was gonna bring this up a little bit later. The Rampage episode that just happened, like Jericho's on commentary and he actually says WWE on commentary. He says something during my time. Oh, he was talking about Earl Hebner. He's like, oh, Earl Hebner always gave me a hard time during my time in WWE. You know, and then Mark Henry's just laughing about it. But there's one way to do it that way. But then also on Dynamite, I don't know if you saw when he had that match against Wardlow, he hit the code breaker hella early. And then Jim Ross says, I once saw him hit that very move on a dead man. Swear to God. And I was like, oh, I see what you did. Undertaker. You know,
and then that's the thing.
Sometimes, you know,
sometimes I feel like when AEW does it, sometimes I do feel like
I think they do it too much.
I do feel like when they do it though, they're trying to sorry if you guys can hear my dog. She's
all good.
Legal, maybe there's legal jargon that I don't know about. Like maybe you can't, like if you say the name WWE too much on your program, or something like that. So but maybe you could kind of mention it or accidentally mention it or something like that. That's different. But
to like Jim Ross, you've already ran out yours.
But maybe if you're like trying to book feuds based on stuff that happened in WWE and you started using WWE jargon and names and stuff like that, especially names they came up with. I'm sure like pay-per-views and stuff like that. Yeah, that's probably a no-go.
You probably can't say Undertaker, but you can say a dead man.
Like a dead, you know, instead of the dead man,
And the WWE's thing is that they own a lot of these names. They own the videos. Like, just say the fucking thing.
It's weird too though, because like Jericho, he'll do it. He'll reference something that happened, like, but he'll always say that one Monday night where, and I'm like, okay, you're talking about something that happened on Raw without trying to say it happened on Raw. But see, I think they should pick and choose when they do it, just because there's times where I think that when they do it too much, then now they're like, well, I'll kind of want to know what he's talking about. And now you got someone who doesn't, you know, may not know, or is just not. I mean, I think it's real seldom you'll get someone that's only an AEW fan, unless they're like young, don't know who WWE is, or just been whatever. But I don't think, like you said, everyone's gonna be like, oh, let's immediately turn the channel like Mick Foley's about to win the championship. Yeah. As soon as he mentions it, you know what I mean? But
imagine you're on Rampage, you're watching Rampage, and then all of a sudden they're like on. Like, oh my God, Dolph Ziggler is facing the Street Profits.
Yeah, that'll
Oh, okay, that's fine. We'll
they should do that for Raw. They should do that for Raw. Like, oh, and Goldberg's gonna come and cut a promo. That'll put, but you're like, no.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
By the way, RIP to Montez Ford. He almost fucking killed himself on SmackDown. Y'all see that shit?
What happened?
Yo, he went for a huge diving attack on Otis. He usually does like the flip, but I don't know if he just didn't flip, or he just like was like, I'm just gonna do this over the top rope suicide dive, and he pretty much landed almost over him. Like Otis had to do a lot. Otis had to do a lot of selling. Yeah, he almost cleared his ass, and then Otis, like, he still got knocked down, but he grabbed him and like threw him into like the barricade to like sell it. But I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, this is a live crowd. Oh shit, they can't edit this. I was like thinking the whole time I see Montez trying not to smile. And I was like, oh man, I forgot. The crowd's back. They can't be doing this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
you got that much bounce, you can't even.
But see, it was one of the things where I was like, oh, Otis finna catch him or like, you know, take care of him because he's a big dude. And I'm like, he has a huge target to hit. And I was like, oh, he hit over the target. I was like, yo, like
he's got the little arms.
It was like when you shoot a 3-pointer and someone hits the top of the backboard and then it just drops in. I was like, yo, what the fuck was that? Speaking of AEW, we did have Rampage, but I don't know if you saw, I did us a favor, did some review on that late last night.
Shout out to you.
I was like, I'm taking the initiative. I'm like, I'm taking a few notes and then I'm gonna get into it. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it. But the thing with AEW I wanted to bring up is, I don't know if you guys heard about this, is the whole Max Caster incident. You hear about this?
Yeah, I did hear about
I didn't think it was gonna be that big a deal, but then when I did more research, I realized why it was a big deal. I thought Tony coming out saying that he was gonna be editing everything from now on was gonna be the end of it. But you gotta look what happened with Sammy Guevara, right? He joked about raping Sasha Banks. No, it wasn't recent. It was an old interview. Same deal, 2 months suspension, no pay, sensitivity classes. So I get that you gotta show the same level of disciplinary action. Max Caster, he had a rap about Simone Biles, which I didn't think it was smart anyways. Charlotte had a promo referencing her anyways as well. But
and that's the thing. Sometimes it's like, if you think about when WWE does it, you kind of look at it and like, well, we have 3 old white dudes who are just not culturally inept to know what's going on. Whereas when AEW does it, you're like, who approved that?
Yeah, you're like,
we know that you guys are a little more woke than
a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Like you guys are a little bit more aware of what's going on and what could possibly not be a good idea pertaining to what audience you're pitching it to. But it's like,
at least Caster's not rapping anymore, right?
Well, I don't know. So the thing is, it's like, it's the second line that kind of, I get it. It's because he had that whole Duke Lacrosse line.
That's the line.
Yeah, making light of the whole rape allegations and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna treat y'all bitches like Duke. I was like, ooh.
So here's the thing.
First of all, dude, apparently they didn't do that.
No. But
I watched the 30 for 30.
But my thing is like, because again, he joked about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's it. So that's why I get the suspension, the sensitivity classes. I get it. I just want to get your guys' opinion on it. Obviously, all of us coming from hip hop backgrounds as well. So
this is a 2-prong. You gotta address this on a couple different layers, right?
Yeah.
One, being that we all rap. I don't know how y'all feel about this, but y'all probably will agree. As a rapper, especially the type of rap that we did and do, you want the ooh and the ah, right? You're
the shock fact. I get the shock value.
You're not necessarily chasing the ooh and the ah, but you're getting your point across, and as you're writing it where those oohs are.
Yeah. 100%.
I don't like when guys chase the ooh and the ah. I'm writing this with the intention of getting a reaction, because now I feel like you're leaving from telling your truth in the verse.
Right.
Trying to get the reaction.
Doing what you can to get that reaction, as opposed to getting there. Yeah.
Said about this situation. If he was just coming out talking crazy, he could talk crazy. You could have punchlines. You could have topical punchlines. But it seems like he's at a point now where, because he does it week to week, he's like, what's the most outrageous thing I can say? And
you know what? Now you think about it, like it is a week-to-week headline type of thing. Like, what's topical this week? Yeah. So you're right. Yeah.
And so the Simone Biles thing, I'm not really tripping. I get why people.
Yeah, everybody is already kind of talking about it, right? Yeah.
For Simone Biles, right?
Yeah. So I thought, I was like, all right, I could shake that one off. But yeah, that second one.
If he did that one, I would say that's just good heel work.
Yeah.
Right now. But you can't joke about rape, dog. That's never been nobody's ever gotten away with that. That's never been cool.
Yeah.
And the fact that is such an old reference, it shows that you're
trying to get there. Yeah, you're like chasing. What was some wild shit that happened that I could kind of throw out there? And were they in North Carolina when he did it? That would have been some other shit, right? That like he actually did it.
If he would have just said the Simone Biles thing, and then the last line, which was a little sketchy, but
with the vagina thing. Why is he keep? Well, he's always talking about Julie. He's always on Julia's.
I don't know.
I don't. I was like, there must be some heat or something. I don't. Maybe she gave him an STD or some shit, dude. I don't know.
That fits into what's going on. So if he would have just did the Simone line and then the line he finished with, we would have all went, oh, and then he snatched the mic away, and it's okay. moment over.
And it's dark. No one's watching.
Yeah.
So
they're like, wait,
like
he's like, I thought it was AEW dark humor. No, like, what did I do wrong?
The guy got suspended over YouTube views. Like, that's, first of all, we need to throw that out there. But like going back to like where I've like when I used to battle and where I'm at now is I probably regret everything I've ever done in terms of when I used to battle, because I said some shit. It's out there, and but although like the crowds and the people and the support I have was a very diverse support group of people.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
What I was saying didn't come off as I was a very diverse person.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, because I was gonna say, whereas in that forum, that's more, it's more accepted because that's what it is. Like, you walking knowing what, but then at the same time, I could hear what you're saying, and we're like, I had to say a lot of fucked up shit to get these reactions. But then I had people, my own people, that are looking at me different, like, yo,
like I don't feel comfortable. Keep in mind, this was only 5 to 6, 7 years ago, and things have changed. I was using slurs that I shouldn't be using now.
Well, but there's also there was also a change in cultural acceptance and what was also politically correct at the time and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I get it, but it's like, now that you're like looking back, I mean, for one, hey, congrats, you know, that's shouts to you for even feeling that way, because a lot of people could give a fuck. But like, I think it's because I was gonna say the latest example I could think of is like when Meek Mill had that track that leaked, right? And he had like that Kobe line, like going out shooting, like going out with my chopper like Kobe. And I was like, bro, you can't say that shit. Everybody was fucking came for it. You know what I'm saying? It's too much. Like, and there's a difference between that and like I could see people were upset with the Simone Biles line because, and you know, as Baca likes to say, we're a black podcast. But I can see where maybe people who are looking at Castor as someone, a person of color who's actually getting some good TV time, they're like, why are you going to do a line about, or, you know, someone that's part of, you know, another person of color? I could see that, you know, there was a lot of people that were getting on him about that more than the Duke lacrosse shit, because they probably didn't know. But
it's old ass, goofy ass reference that you didn't need to say.
Yeah.
Hey, stop rapping, dog. Stop rapping. Listen, you're not that good.
Or can I just slide in here? Let Mac write for you. How about that?
Yeah. Look it up.
Yeah.
I'll have you saying something.
At 1 a.m., Mac knows all the controversy going on. He's like, this is what's buzzing right now. Rap about this.
And you won't be offensive, and you'll still get your deal. You'll be fine. And also, your cadence is trash anyway. Like,
look.
I hate rap gimmicks because of this, because this is what we end up getting.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it is a drastic difference in what he's doing to what how they've been presenting Hit Row. I'll give him that for sure.
And Hit Row is riding the line, because sometimes they do stuff and I go,
yeah, no, bro. Like this past Wednesday, I was like,
no, well, they're not going to be there much longer.
I was like, a grill. I was like, I don't know if a grill in our culture is as high as a luchador mask in the Mexican culture. You know what I mean? I was like, as soon as they burned it, I'm like, ooh, bro, you shouldn't have burned that shit. And then you hear the crowd.
Like, I got your grill.
yeah, dude. It was like,
it's all little like
it was like, ha, got your shit. Like, it was like, all right, whatever. But it's like, yeah, when they did that promo, when he threw the lucha mask in the fire, I was like, and I heard the crowd like audibly boo. I'm like, yeah, you weren't gonna win that battle for sure. But you know what?
But just in general, I was just gonna say, like, you know, this is the type of stuff that doesn't age well, and I think like you got to be careful with it. Like, if I don't feel like the stuff I've said doesn't age well, and I'm not proud of it, any of it, but at the same time, I get why, like, there's a reason why I'm probably even on this podcast. The reason why I met Baca and stuff was through that stuff. I made a lot of networks and a lot of friends through that, but like. Yeah. In terms of like who I am as a human being today and who I was and what the stuff I said back then, like even back then I didn't mean any of it, but at the same time it was all for entertainment.
Yeah.
But AEW seems like the type of person that wants their shit to age well, and I don't think the WWE doesn't care. You could go back to all the diva shit that they used to do, and we all kind of just chuckle like, man, well, they really got away with all that shit.
I think they do to a extent, because they're, I mean, if you, that's why, you know, I felt the same way until I was like reminding myself, like, Yeah, but they kind of let Jericho run rampant like a summer ago when he's fucking doing these open fucking concerts with fans and talking his political talk on Twitter. And I'm like, y'all want that to age well? Because that's gonna come back on y'all. But I did want to end the show on a light note. I could see the twinkle in Mac Lowe's eye. I do have some news about your boo, the SmackDown Women's Champion. I saved this for last because it wasn't really relative to anything we were going to say. Yes. But I read that she actually has a pretty cool goal in mind when it comes to what she's trying to accomplish here at WWE. She is trying to be the first to defeat all 4 horsewomen. And you think about Bayley and Sasha already checked off the list. I mean, there's been rumors of Becky. She's scheduled to be at SummerSlam in some capacity, whether backstage or on the show, who knows? But I think her return's imminent. But I know her and Charlotte's wrestled quite a few times. She's never gotten the W, but I think that'd be dope. Me personally. Am I the only one that thinks that this new feud with her and Sasha is a little bit better than their first one?
I think because Bianca is established now.
Yeah, I do feel that way. You're right, because I remember I kept telling y'all like I feel like she's still there, but they're still trying to like they're like they still kept the training wheels on for her for a bit. But yeah,
and I think that's an ode to Sasha Banks, man.
Yeah,
that if you try to explain to somebody who doesn't watch wrestling how that works, that is how you show them, right?
Yeah.
This is a person who we know is going to be, and we're trying to get them there. This is a person who is, and they're going to match up. And in the matchup, it's going to elevate this person to that level too. And then this person can go away, and this person can continue to rise. And then when this person comes back, now they're on the same level. And we can run it back, and it's even bigger. Like that's exactly. She literally helped her get there, and now she took a loss.
Yeah,
but she doesn't really lose anything because she's already established. And
yeah, she's person and they have history
on an equal playing field. There's history, so now
I was gonna say the history's established a little bit more. So yeah,
why the fuck?
Go ahead, hot take. This is the hot take for the show. Let's go.
Are Carmella and Zelina Vega involved in this in any capacity?
Okay, so Zelina, I know okay, so Zelina is supposed to face the winner of that match, right? But where did Carmella come from? Where did Carmella come from? Like, I mean, like Sonya keeps giving her all the opportunities in the world. But you know what I was thinking about that? And, I would say, hey, watch what you're going to say, Quincy, because it's 2021, may not age well. But then I think about what WWE did with Lana and fucking Liv Morgan. I could see them doing something where all of a sudden Sonya is like, has a crush on Carmella because she's the most beautiful woman in WWE. So that's why she keeps shelling out these things. Do I want to see it, Mac? Hell no. No, I don't. Because they will tank SmackDown. No. But like I'm just trying to figure out why is Carmella always in favor with Sonya Deville?
This feels like okay, so I was in like the 10th grade and there's this girl that I like. And so I used to like try to talk to her at lunch or court her. But she had like a little clique of friends who I could not stand. And so as much as I wanted to get next to her, I had to deal with these other chicks all the time. And so it's like I had to put up with these other relationships to get what I needed, right?
And just entertain it just for the sake of it.
As much as I love Sasha and Bianca, I see Zelina and Carmella and all of them standing in the ring with their arms folded, like, and what about me? And I'm here too. And it's like, y'all don't get y'all little goofy asses. Don't nobody care about y'all. Go fight each other later.
Word.
Or earlier.
Word. Like
using your analogy, I've broken up with people. I'm acting like I'm non-binary. I've broken up with women before.
No, but it's what he's like. Yeah, I date multiple people at one time, so I had to break up.
I've dated women before, and I've broken up with them because I hated their friends. So this all they're doing is just unbearable, bro. All they're doing is ruining the Bianca Sasha feud. Like it's not going to be ruined to the point where the match is going to be bad or the promo video they're going to put together is bad. Well, but us watching week to week,
it's very annoying.
You see the look on Bianca's face when she's like, "But I need some witnesses," and she was like, "What the fuck?" Like that look on her face. I was like, "That is how I feel right now. What are we doing? This is dumb.
It doesn't help anybody.
It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense, please. Like what the?
So like even when she was like a couple weeks ago, she was like, "I'm gonna see you at SummerSlam, and I'll see you tonight," and everybody's like, "Oh," but Zelina,
we were talking about like, oh, but you don't make the matches.
But I don't. Yes, and also I don't want to see. I don't want to see it.
You're not interested in Zelina versus
Bianca? No.
I mean, if Bianca retains, yeah, right. But I mean, well, it's
Bianca,
weird.
Bianca picked up Dewdrop. I mean Otis. So,
that's my guy.
So Zelina, that's all long. We don't.
But high key, why should Dewdrop join the Alpha Academy now?
That would be 10 times better than the feud she has on Raw. Imagine Dewdrop and just
that's
like,
my girl.
Just stunt doubling for Otis. Like that would be so much. That'd be so much better.
And then Chad Gable and cut. All right, you go in there. Like, fuck, have Gable do the directing. Oh god,
same singlet. So in my head,
and you know what?
Alexa Bliss sucks. We don't need to talk about it.
Okay, so like I feel bad for her.
She's great, but the character sucks.
I'll just say this quickly. I feel bad because she knew what was coming her way because she wrote that long ass like note about it, like just trying to like give Bray Wyatt his his respect and all that. Because I was like, because from now on, like if I heard he got released, I definitely would be like, well, I'm fucked. Every time I have a match, they're gonna be chanting for this nigga now. Like it's like,
and then Mickey James just was like, y'all, Bray Wyatt shit and gave it to her, and she probably was like, nigga.
Yeah, she's like, I didn't ask for it. Like, why you going? That's my merch. What you doing? That's my merch money. You fucking up my mode. But no, I will say, we did finally get some silence broken from Keith Lee, and we'll end it after this. This is a great way to end it. Detailed what's been going on with him. He did have a health scare. Everyone was like, oh, it's COVID. Or no, he got sent home because of his weight and Vince can't stand to look at his fat. I'm like, dude, y'all are some crazy. But if you remember, there was always like in the very beginning, they said there was maybe something health related, but we just didn't know. He wasn't opening up about it, which you don't have to. That we ain't, man, we ain't owed shit, man. Yeah, we pay to see these guys, but we ain't owed shit, dude. Especially when their own company that we support doesn't even pay for, like they don't pay for their medical bills, bro. Like it's like let it go. But he shed some light finally. Mia Yim did contract COVID, which I did hear as well before this, but obviously people don't know. They think they're like, oh, she gave it to you. No, he gave it to her. He had it before her. She wouldn't stop taking care of him. She ended up getting it. So I thought that
she missed her Royal Rumble spot.
Yeah, she missed a Royal Rumble spot.
Which I'm not gonna lie to you, but at that point she was still.
I think she was still reckoning. Yeah.
Yeah. So what spot was she going to get in the Royal Rumble like that?
I don't know.
She probably did her. I'm not going to say like having COVID is a good thing, but like was she really going to make or break the Royal? I'm pretty sure the WWE when Vince found out, he was like, oh, okay. Well.
I'm curious if who took her spot or who they put in her place, and then because if I know that, then I'll be like, oh, they should have just left it as is, or they were better off, or whatever the fuck. But Keith, yeah, he actually had some more health problems after this. He said they had something going on with his heart, where he kind of had to.
That's scary shit.
Yeah, dude, because he said that he had he couldn't even train. Like they told him because I'm sure when they look at someone like Keith Lee and they see something on his heart, they're like, and you're a fucking wrestler? No, you can't be wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, so he wasn't even training for a while.
To all of that.
Yeah, man.
Bro, that's dangerous, dude.
Johnny's like, I can't get past the glory. It's too much glory to pump out.
I am limited now.
He's like, I'm sorry, kid, but your blood flow, your blood supply is not limitless. But shout out to Keith Lee, man. I appreciate just again for even opening up, sharing that with us, letting us know what this
shit.
No, you know what I mean? And he was catching a lot of shit online, and he just kept saying, be patient, be patient. I'm glad he was like I said, felt, just vulnerable enough to be like, you know what, y'all been fucking with me for a while, y'all been wondering what's up, I'm gonna finally let you know what's going on. So I appreciate that. Appreciate to know that he's doing better, much better. He said he didn't even know, it wasn't like something talked about when he came back for Houston. He just, it just happened. It wasn't like they planned it like a week in advance or nothing. So he said he didn't even know that he was going to be ready by then. You know what I mean? That wasn't even a thought to him until it happened. So, but obviously looking forward to seeing him do way more in WWE now that he's healthy, hoping that he keeps his health intact, of course. And that's just what's more important overall, man. I mean, I know I get people miss him and they think that, Vince is this terrible guy. And he is. He's a dick. We know it. He's a savvy businessman, but he is who he is. You know what I mean?
Is he though?
I understand why all these the conspiracies started, but we got the real deal. Keith Lee's good. He's ready to go, ready to show out again, ready to bask in the glory. So again, looking forward to see what they do with him.
Can I say this real quick?
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Weirdo internet, weirdo wrestling fans.
Neckbeard.
Relax.
Man.
Because when Keith Lee went down, for reasons that we did not know, the first thing I did was start coming at me again. Why? And then when Oos went through what he went through a couple of weeks ago, the first thing I did was start going at Naomi. For what? I don't understand it. I mean, they
need someone to blame. Bro, it's like they want someone to blame, right?
It doesn't make any sense.
Like
if you don't like women, just say that. Like, stop coming to the shows. You're like, if you just deter them.
And thinking you're setting a lure for the one you're going home with.
Like, I don't get it. Like, the disrespect is crazy. Like, you would never say this shit to them if you've seen them more.
I mean, it's not like people were going at Sable like, oh, I can't believe you let Brock quit and go to the NFL. What did you do?
What doing?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Like that's like if people were gonna come at that's like if people came at Stephanie like, your dad's a fucking loser. What is he doing to NXT? Like, you know,
people
what I mean?
might do that on the side. I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
And your husband sucks, and he's not gonna. And he's can't handle NXT.
And your brother's a crazy man who jumps off a high thing. Like
if y'all don't get a life, go read a book.
Nah, seriously, man. Like, look, I understand sometimes wrestling is life, but nah, not for real. Like, take a break, unplug, keep up with your responsibilities and whatever that entails. But man, like, take a breather.
I was gonna say the WWE is making it really hard for it to be live right now. Dude,
is this all the time? Like, no, I couldn't.
Nah, I couldn't. Sorry.
Yeah, there's. But you know what, man? We'll have to figure out how we're gonna do next week. Obviously, SummerSlam gonna be next week. Didn't know if you guys wanted to meet up earlier in the week just to get out some predictions. If not, like I said, I'm gonna be in your neck of the woods, Mac. I was even gonna see if you wanted to do maybe possibly get together Sunday to just talk about like the post show or something. But I'll figure it out. I'll let y'all know, man.
If you guys have to do the show together or something, we could do that. If not, we can maybe find some time during the week.
Yeah, I mean, I have my my wife, I forgot the fuck it's called, my hotspot that I have, so I was gonna bring that with me because Las Vegas Wi-Fi on the strip is trash because everybody's on it. But if you guys wanted to connect and do a Zoom while we're out there, make it all remote like we do now, all good. Just let me know, man. But yeah, that's been the Flow Show.
When do you go to Vegas? Like what day?
Next Friday. I'm driving out early Friday. I actually filled out some survey that WWE sent me about it, and they were like, "Oh, okay. Are you interested in meeting for a special offer at the MGM between 4:15 and 5:15?" I'm like, they said there'll be an incentive. I'm like, fuck it, I'll go. I'm like, I don't know what it's gonna. Who knows what it is? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just gonna say no and just take the incentive and leave, right? Like, so I don't know. We'll see what's up. I might have a little story for y'all if everything goes through with that. But yeah, I'm gonna be out there Friday. Oh, they're like, hey brother, we just want it's a secret meet and greet. I'm like, y'all gonna have to lock the door. Y'all gonna have to get security on the second floor. Oh man, I'm doing it for the culture. Oh man, but we'll be back next week with some SummerSlam coverage as well as obviously First Dance coming back. We know Mac Lowe could care less because he's not a Punk fan. He's like, it's the summer of Mac. I don't know what y'all talking about.
There's two people that I just don't join the conversation. CM Punk and John Cena.
I feel it. I feel it, man. But make sure you follow us, man. Flow Wrestling Show and Flow Wrestling Pod. That's on Twitter as well as Instagram. And of course, while you're there, check out our link tree. It's right in the bio. We got all our good stuff there, man. As far as the SoundCloud link, still waiting for the iTunes approval, but we are on YouTube every week, so check that out as well. I'm Quincy Jones Go. You can follow me at Quincy Jones Go. There's Mac Lowe. You can follow him at Mac Lowe, and Brian Andrew at Brian Andrew _ And don't forget to follow his new podcast. I'm gonna fuck it up again. LA
Clips Forum.
I was gonna say it. Okay, I was right. Okay. Cool. Muscle memory. You see? Full circle, you know what I'm saying? No, I was just fucking with y'all, man. But check out LA Clips Forum, man. And if you have to ask, you're not a Clippers fan. I'm telling you guys, you need to get Clipper Daryl on there.
Even we might, I'll maybe hit him up. I was gonna say, even if you don't like the Clippers, at least go on our Instagram and listen to our theme song. We put a lot of thought. I
definitely want to see. I'm gonna listen to that shit right when we get off because I want to. I'm intrigued now. I'm intrigued. Mac, any special projects going on for you?
Nah, man. Just my Cash App. Send money to my Cash App.
For sure.
It's hard in these streets.
At least 100. At least 100,000.
At least 100,000 from everybody.
At least, man.
At the least.
Before we go, Baron Corbin's the best thing in WWE right now.
Dude, he's really letting that hair just like, I'm not even mad at him. Like, I'm just like, I'm laughing. I'm wondering where they go from here. Maybe he'll join the academy, the Alpha Academy, and turn his life around. Who knows? Or they'll do something stupid and have like Nikki Ash join him and be like, "You can be a superhero too." I do a bad Scottish.
And he's like, hey, I don't want to be part of this whack ass gimmick right now. So
he's like, well, am I gonna get?
If you don't mind,
he's gonna be like, well, am I gonna get paid? I can see him doing some shit like that. But this has been the Flow Show, man. We'll be back next week for the love of wrestling. We out. Peace.